I buried my wife on a Tuesday, clear sky, not a single cloud. And I remember thinking how strange it was that the world could look so beautiful on the worst day of my life. That was 11 years ago. I'm 91 now. My name is Walter Hadley, and I've been to more funerals than I can count. Friends, neighbors, my brother Carl, my sister Dot, two of the men I served with in Korea, my barber, my dentist, the woman who used to sell me tomatoes at the farmer's market every summer. Gone. All of them. Gone. And you start to notice something when you watch that many people leave this world. You start to see patterns, not the ones the doctors talk about, not the heart attacks or the strokes, though Lord knows those take plenty. I'm talking about the quiet things, the slow things, the things that creep in like cold air under a door and settle into a person's bones before they even know what's happening. I've watched strong men who could fix an engine with their bare hands, just fade away within 2 years of their last day of work. I've watched women who raised 5 children and ran entire households just stop moving, stop caring, stop living, even though their hearts were still beating, and nobody talked about it. Nobody warned them. That's what I want to do today. I want to warn you, because there are things that will kill you after you retire, and most of them don't make a sound. I've had a lot of time to think about this. Too much time, maybe. But when you sit on a porch as long as I have, and watch the seasons turn, and the neighbors change, and the ambulances come and go, you learn things. You learn that retirement isn't what people think it is. Everyone pictures it as this golden paradise. No alarm clocks, no bosses, no deadlines. And yes, there's a sweetness to it. But there's also a danger, a real danger. And it hides inside the very things that are supposed to make you happy. The rest, the quiet, the freedom. They can turn on you. I've seen it happen dozens of times, and I almost let it happen to me. So let me tell you what I've learned. 7 things that quietly kill people after they stop working. Not all at once, not with any drama, just slowly, like a candle burning down in a room where nobody's watching. The first one is the loss of purpose. And I don't mean the kind of purpose you read about in self-help books. I mean the simple, ordinary feeling of being needed, of having somewhere to be, of knowing that if you don't show up, something won't get done. I worked at the same lumber yard for 38 years, started when I was 23, ended when I was 61, and on my last day, they gave me a cake with white frosting and a card signed by people I'd worked beside for decades. Everyone smiled, everyone shook my hand, and then I drove home, and I sat in my kitchen, and I realized I had absolutely nothing to do the next morning. Nothing. For the first time in nearly 4 decades, no one needed me to be anywhere. And I want to tell you something. That silence, that emptiness, it didn't feel like freedom. It felt like drowning. The first few weeks were fine. I told myself I'd earned it. I'd rest, I'd fish, I'd finally organize the garage. But by the second month, I started sleeping later. Then I stopped getting dressed in the morning. Then I stopped eating breakfast. Because what was the point? There was nowhere to go. I watched my friend Harold go through the same thing. Harold was a postman, walked 10 miles a day for 30 years, knew every dog, every mailbox, every crack in every sidewalk. When he retired, his wife told me, he just sat in his recliner and stared at the television, not watching it, just staring at it. He was gone within 18 months. Heart failure, they said. But I knew better. His heart didn't fail him. The world just stopped asking him to use it. So I'm telling you now, and I need you to hear this. You need a reason to get up in the morning. It doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't have to change the world, but it has to matter to you. Plant a garden. Volunteer at a school. Walk someone's dog. Fix things for your neighbors. Just give your days a shape. Because days without shape become weeks without meaning. And weeks without meaning become a life that's already over, even if your body hasn't caught up yet. That brings me to the second thing, and this one is sneaky. It's loneliness. Not the kind where you sit in a room and feel sorry for yourself. That happens too. But I'm talking about the kind of loneliness that moves in so gradually, you don't even notice it. It starts with skipping a lunch with a friend because you're tired. Then you stop calling people because you figure they're busy. Then you realize one day that you haven't spoken to another human being in 4 days, and the only voice you've heard is the one on the television. After my wife, Dorothy, passed, I went through a stretch where I didn't leave the house for nearly 3 weeks. My daughter called me every day, God bless her, but I could hear the worry in her voice, and that made me feel worse. I didn't want to be a burden. That's the other thing nobody tells you about getting old. You start to feel like you're in the way, like the world has moved on, and you're just furniture that hasn't been cleared out yet. I watched it happen to my neighbor, Gene. Gene was a talker, funniest man on the block, always had a joke, always had a story. But after his wife moved into a care home and his kids relocated to other states, Gene just stopped talking. He'd wave from his driveway, but that was it. No more stories, no more jokes. I should have gone over there more. I should have knocked on his door and sat with him. But I was dealing with my own grief, and I told myself he was fine. He wasn't fine. He died alone in that house, and they didn't find him. For 2 days. 2 days. A man who once made an entire barbecue laugh until their sides ached. Alone for 2 days, before anyone noticed. That haunts me. And it taught me something I'll carry to my grave. Loneliness doesn't always look like sadness. Sometimes it looks like independence. Sometimes it looks like a person who says, "Oh, I'm fine. I don't need anything." Don't believe them. Go sit with them anyway. And if you're the one saying it, stop. Let people in. Call someone. Go to the diner and talk to the waitress. Go to church. Go anywhere. Just don't let the silence become your only companion. Because silence, over time, will eat you alive. Now, the third thing. This one took me many years to understand. It's the habit of holding on to anger. Old grudges, old wounds, things people said to you 20, 30, 40 years ago that you never forgave. I carried anger toward my father for most of my adult life. He was a hard man. Not cruel exactly, but hard. Never told me he was proud of me. Never said he loved me. And when he died in 1978, I thought I'd feel relief. I didn't. I felt cheated. cheated out of the words I needed to hear. And I carried that around, like a stone in my chest, for decades. It affected my marriage. It affected how I raised my own sons. It sat in me like poison, and I didn't even know it was there half the time. It wasn't until I was well into my 70s that I finally talked to someone about it. A pastor at my church, a quiet man named Reverend Owens. He listened to me for a long time, and then he said something simple. He said, "Walter, your father gave you what he had. It wasn't enough. But carrying what he didn't give you is heavier than anything he ever could have handed you." And that cracked something open in me. I cried that day. At 74 years old, I sat in a church office and cried like a boy, and I started to let it go. Not all at once, but slowly. And I swear to you, my body felt different after that. Lighter. Like I'd been carrying bags of gravel up a hill my whole life. And someone finally told me I could set them down. I've seen so many people my age die still holding on to anger, still furious at an ex-wife, still bitter about a business deal that went bad in 1982, still not speaking to a sibling over something nobody can even remember. And that anger, it doesn't just sit in your mind. It sits in your blood. It sits in your sleep. It sits in your chest at 3 in the morning when the house is dark and quiet and there's nothing to distract you from it. Let it go. Whatever it is, whoever it was, let it go. Not for them, for you. Because you don't have enough time left to spend it being angry at someone who probably isn't thinking about you at all. The fourth thing is one that might surprise you. It's the habit of stopping learning, of deciding that you're too old to grow. I've seen it so many times. People retire and they close the book. Not just literally, though that happens too. They close the book on curiosity. They stop asking questions. They stop being interested in the world. They settle into routines so tight that nothing new can get in, and their minds start to shrink. I don't mean that in a medical way, though maybe it's that too. I mean their world gets smaller. Their conversations get shorter. Their eyes get duller. My wife was the opposite. Dorothy read 2 books a week until the month she died. She was 80 years old, and she was reading about the history of ancient Rome. I'd come into the bedroom and she'd look up at me over her reading glasses and say, "Walter, did you know that Roman soldiers used to carry vinegar with their rations?" And I'd laugh and say, "No, Dot, I didn't know that." And she'd smile and go right back to reading. That woman's mind was alive every single day. Sharp, curious, hungry. And I believe with everything in me that it's part of what kept her going as long as she did. Meanwhile, I watched men at the senior center who hadn't read a book in 20 years, hadn't learned a new thing since they stopped working. They'd sit there and talk about the same stories from decades ago, the same fishing trip, the same football game. And look, I love a good memory. But if all you have is the past, then you're not really living. You're just replaying. Your mind needs something to chew on. A puzzle, a newspaper, a conversation about something you don't understand. It doesn't matter what it is. Just keep feeding it. Because a mind that stops moving is a mind that starts dying. And it doesn't die fast. It dies slow. And that might be the worst part. The fifth thing, and this one might be the most dangerous of all, It's giving up on your body, sitting down, and deciding to stay there. I understand it. I do. Everything hurts. Your knees ache, your back is stiff, your hands don't grip like they used to. Getting up from a chair feels like climbing a hill. And it's easy, so easy, to just stop moving, to sit in the recliner and let the television do the living for you. But I'm going to tell you what I saw with my own eyes. My brother Carl and I were born 2 years apart. Same parents, same house, same food growing up. Carl retired at 62 and sat down. That's the only way I can describe it. He just sat down, stopped walking, stopped going outside. His wife brought him his meals in his chair. He watched game shows all day. Within 5 years, he could barely walk to the bathroom. His legs just gave out. Not because of disease, because he stopped using them. The body is not a machine that wears out from use. The body wears out from neglect. I learned that the hard way. After Dorothy died, I didn't want to do anything. But my daughter, bless her stubborn heart, bought me a pair of walking shoes and told me she expected me to wear them out. So I started walking, just to the end of the street at first, then around the block, then to the park and back. And I'm not going to tell you it made me feel young again. It didn't. My hips still ache. My breathing is still heavy. But I'm standing. At 91, I'm standing. I'm walking to the mailbox. I'm carrying my own groceries. I'm bending down to pick up the newspaper. And Carl, God rest him, couldn't do any of those things by the time he was 75. Same blood, same bones, different choices. You don't have to run a marathon. Nobody's asking you to lift weights or do jumping jacks. But move. Please move. Walk to the corner, stretch in the morning, stand up every hour. Do something. Because the chair is comfortable, yes, but it is also a trap. And once it has you, it doesn't let go easy. The sixth thing is something that people don't talk about, because it sounds strange, but I've seen it kill more people than cigarettes ever did. It's the loss of joy, the decision, conscious or not, that happiness is behind you, that your best days are over, that everything from here on out is just waiting. I fell into that. After Dorothy, after Carl, after burying so many friends that I stopped counting, I started to believe that my life was just an epilogue, just the last few blank pages at the end of a book where all the good chapters had already been written. And when you believe that, everything changes. Food doesn't taste as good. Sunlight doesn't feel as warm. Music doesn't reach you the way it used to. You're alive, but you're not present. You're here, but you're not really here. It was my granddaughter, Lucy, who pulled me out of it. She was 6 at the time. She came to visit and she brought me a dandelion from the yard. Just a weed. A little yellow weed with dirt still hanging from the roots. And she held it up to me, like it was the most valuable thing in the world, and said, "This is for you, Grandpa, because it's sunny like you." And something in my chest just broke open. I looked at that little yellow flower and I thought, there is still beauty in this world. There is still sweetness. There is still something worth being here for. Joy is not something that ends when you get old, but you have to choose it. You have to look for it. You have to let yourself feel it, even when everything around you says you shouldn't. Watch the birds, listen to the rain, Eat something sweet and close your eyes while you taste it. Call someone you love and tell them you love them. Joy is not a season that passes. It's a well, and you can draw from it as long as you're willing to reach down. And now, the seventh thing, the last one. And I saved it for last because I think it might be the root of all the others. It's the belief that you don't matter anymore, that your time has passed, that the world belongs to younger people now, and you're just taking up space. I have felt this many times. When I walk into a store and the clerk looks right through me. When I try to tell a story and I can see the younger person's eyes glaze over. When I sit in a waiting room and realize that I am the oldest person there by 30 years, and no one even sees me. It is a terrible thing to feel invisible, and it happens slowly. The phone rings less, the invitations stop, the holidays get smaller, and you start to wonder if anyone would notice, if you just didn't wake up one morning. I need to tell you something, and I need you to believe me. You matter. You matter right now, today, in this very moment. Not because of what you used to do, not because of what you built or earned or accomplished. You matter because you're here. You matter because you have seen things that no one else has seen. You have survived things that would break most people in half. You have carried love and loss and heartache and hope across decades, and that means something. Every scar on your body tells a story. Every wrinkle on your face is a map of where you've been, and the world needs your voice, even if it shakes, especially if it shakes. Don't you dare let anyone, including yourself, tell you that you don't matter, because I've been on this earth for 91 years, and if I've learned one thing, it's that the people who think they don't matter are usually the ones who matter the most. They're the ones who loved the hardest, gave the most, worried about everyone else, and forgot to fight for themselves. So fight. Fight for your right to take up space. Fight for your right to be seen and heard and remembered. Not loudly, not with anger, but quietly, firmly, like a tree that refuses to fall, even after the storm has taken every leaf. I don't know how much longer I have. Could be years, could be months, could be tomorrow. At 91, you stop pretending that time is something you can count on. But I know this much. I know that every single day I wake up and put my feet on that cold floor and stand up, I have won something. I have chosen to be here. I have chosen to move, to think, to feel, to connect, to forgive, to learn, to find joy in small things, and to believe that I still matter. And I'm asking you, whoever you are, wherever you are, however old you are, to do the same. Don't wait until you're my age to figure this out. Don't wait until you've buried everyone you love. Don't wait until the house is quiet and the phone doesn't ring and the days all blur together. Start now. Move your body. Feed your mind. Let go of your anger. Find something to do that gives your days a shape. Talk to someone. Really talk to them. Let yourself feel joy, even the small kind. And never, ever, let yourself believe that you are done. You are not done. You are still here. And that, my friend, means everything.